It's the final scheduled Horton Group fans race from the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway, and for the third time, the fans will be racing tour-type modifieds. Good evening and welcome to Stafford Speedway's YouTube channel for tonight's fans-only event. I'm Kyle Rickey, joined by Jeff McConey, and our producer from the Global Sim Racing channel is Sean Ambrose, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And Jeff, tour-type modifieds, the ultimate goal for many drivers in the SK Lights and in the SK modifieds on a weekly basis, and maybe the ultimate challenge for the fans, but also a challenge that they enjoy.
You are absolutely right, Kyle. These cars are very difficult at times. They sometimes like to step out, and I can tell you from experience, the setup that they are running is not an easy one, and it will go around on them if they're not careful. It's all about survival here tonight, so we'll have to see how these drivers manage it.
Practice winding down. They've been on track now for quite some time, the better part of an hour. Aaron Clemens, a very familiar name to our Friday night program, usually qualifies through finishing in the top 5 in this event. Currently leads the way, a very solid field of 35 drivers. Robbie Keneally is second, Tyler Wood third, Richie Coy fourth, Justin Williams fifth. All drivers that have raced, except for Robbie, I believe, in our Friday night program. More practice here in a moment. There'll be a qualifying session before we get to heat races. Again, these are fans only, participants that are not registered to race at the Stafford Motor Speedway either last year or for the 2020 season. Let's take a look at the race details tonight. I can talk. Prelim night here at the eStafford Speedway, brought to you by the Horton Group. Tour Type Modifieds will have some heat races, a couple of consolation events, and an 80-lap main event. No fast repairs, and 3 green-white checker attempts. No fast repairs for those new to iRacing. Jeff, explain that.
So, no fast repairs means if you damage your car, it takes time to fix it. You can't just come in like we saw on the Fox broadcast on national television, where they just came in and pop, they have a brand new car. It's not how it works here tonight. These drivers, if you knock the toe out of the car, the front end gets knocked out of place, that's 9 minutes to repair it. You blow up the engine, that's 36 minutes. All those damaged parts, well, it takes time to fix them, so you have to keep your car in good shape. One thing to keep in mind, though, with the new iRacing update, it used to be if you had major damage, you had to come in and fix it. You would get black flagged, and you have to come down and repair it. Now, that's no longer the case. If you knock the toe out of it, let's say, and the front end is out of place, it's normally a 9-minute repair, like I said earlier, you can stay on track and continue running it. Your time is going to be slower as you're out there on track, but you don't have to come down and pit. Now, if you do pit, what will happen is you'll get stuck down there and you have to repair it before you leave. But keep in mind, you can race with a little bit of damage now, so if something happens to one of these drivers, they might be able to make it work here.
Yeah, might be in the way, though, if you have enough damage and you elect not to pit. Couple of minutes left in this practice session, so let's take a moment and introduce you a little bit further to the Stafford Motor Speedway, Connecticut's famed half-mile oval.
Welcome to Stafford. This half-mile oval was built in 1870 for a different type of horsepower, horse racing, and then automobile racing took over after that. This place is not as flashy or fancy as the half miles that the Cup cars go to today, but this busy oval can still put on a fantastic show full of action for the fans and intense competition for the drivers. Uniquely banked, it poses a challenge for all comers. Turns 1 and 2 are banked at 9 degrees, where turns 3 and 4 are banked a little less at 7 degrees. The apron here at Stafford is known for being very wide but flat. Only the bravest of drivers with the utmost grip can make passes down there. Short tracks equal close racing and usually leads to shorter tempers. Keeping calm at Stafford rewards the drivers. It's like the old racing expression, to finish first, you must first finish. Corner exit tends to be the most challenging place on the track, where the fast lane sweeps right out of the corners towards that wall that awaits you. Stafford is an old, worn-out surface, so managing the tires is also key to finding victory lane here. All in all, Stafford poses a fun challenge to drivers, and it's always sure to put on a great show. So settle in, buckle up, it's bound to be a great race.
Better look at the Stafford Motor Speedway there, home of the SK Modifieds every Friday night, and hopefully soon we'll be back at the real Stafford Motor Speedway here in the coming weeks. Fingers crossed, as restrictions are continuing to be lifted here in Connecticut, I believe entering phase 2 next week. So again, stay tuned to StaffordMotorSpeedway.com, all of Stafford Speedway's social media outlets for more information on what hopefully is to come here this summer. Aaron Plemons leads the way in practice. This is the third time we've done tour-type modifieds. And Jeff, who are some of the favorites here tonight? What are you going to be looking for over the course of an 80-lap feature and everything that will lead up to that 80-lap feature?
You can never fall asleep on some of the drivers that have experience out here. Ryan Libby, Nick Fraulino as well is usually very strong. Aaron Plemons, Robbie Keneally, Tyler Wood, Richie Coy, Nicholas Hovey, all very strong drivers, and that experience that they have will certainly pay dividends for them. They know how to get around here. They know what they have to do in order to succeed. So keep an eye on those guys that have proven themselves in the past, but there are some newer names here that are looking to work their way in. Frank Perez jumps out. Greg Estelle is back again tonight. Corey Berry, they're all out here trying to find a way into the event on Friday night. So we'll see how the experience stacks up compared to just the new guys that are coming in with their eyes wide and a head full of dreams.
Top 5 from tonight's 80-lap feature event will be allowed to try to make the feature event with the drivers only on Friday night. That night brought to you by All Phases Renovations. Tonight sponsored by the Horton Group, and Kenny and his team have been on board with this Wednesday night program for the fans the last couple of months now. The Horton Group, founded in 2000. It's an award-winning full-service construction, general contracting, and facilities maintenance firm specializing in developing and building a variety of projects in the residential and commercial sectors. For more information, visit their website at hortongroupllc.com. Qualifying underway right now. 35 drivers slated, I believe, to take time. You see Richie Coy making his way down the front straightaway and into turn number 1, 18.414 seconds. Lap number 1 record there. Dennis Admato wrapping up his first lap. Boy, he's actually topping the charts right now with that 18.414 lap a moment ago. Ryan Libby, Anthony Bello, Kyle Casagrande, and Zane Farrell rounding out the top 5. Just about 2.5 minutes to go. 2 minutes and 45 seconds to be exact in this qualifying session. Wild practice earlier. Talk, for those that are new to iRacing, Jeff, the track changes. You know, rubber's put down on the racetrack. The temperature changes. It's about as realistic as it gets. I remember you and Bonzo last Friday night talking about cloud cover and how that changes the racetrack as well.
You're exactly right. Right now, the track is 93 degrees, which is, we've had hotter. You know, it's actually a pretty low track time, so we're seeing some quick lap times here. Coupled that with the Tour Modifieds, which put down so much power here. It's going to be interesting for these cars driving on it because the track time's fairly low. They're going to have a lot more grip. See, the outside temperature is 77. Track temp's all the way up to 93, though. We've laid down a lot of rubber. I mean, each driver, there's some that turned over 150 laps in practice. So it's really making a difference. The cloud cover comes into play here during qualifying. You can sit and wait until you see that cloud cover come down, and that's when you go out. Even if it's just a little bit of coverage in turn 3, let's say, you can get out there and you have more grip there. You're going to be quicker than somebody else. So there's strategy that goes in behind the scenes as well. As you see Nick Foligno out there taking his lap now. He is coming off of turn number 2. Jason Wolk now coming off turn number 4. That high line, dive it down to the bottom, carry a lot of speed on corner exit, and now he's ready for a fast lap 1.
Wolk in the 151, wrapping up his first lap. Nick Foligno, 18.882 on his first lap record in car number 55. Continues to be a Richie Coy leading the way over Ryan Libby. They make up the front 2 right now. To see if there's anybody of note that hasn't taken time yet. So you're waiting those last couple of moments. Nicky Vecchiarioli, Corey Berry. I saw Berry out there a moment ago and went into turn number 1. And Ryan Blanchard, another one of those drivers that have yet to take time. There's Keneally, Robbie Keneally to the pole. Aaron Plemons now up into the top 2. While as I say that, now Tyler Wood moves up and into the second spot. And Ryan Blanchard, the only driver, along Corey Berry hasn't yet to take a lap, and Nicky Vecchiarioli has yet to take a lap as well. As we follow Ryan Blanchard into turn number 3, that sharp-looking number 9, making his way off of turn 4, has done so well on Friday nights, and looking to transfer into another Friday night event here tonight, and puts him 5th right now on the leaderboard.
I don't know what it is about good-looking cars that puts them up near the front, but man, that is an awesome-looking car for Ryan Blanchard. I love the number on there. Reminds me of Todd Owen, but very, very cool. Or Brian Narducci, excuse me, which is owned by Todd Owen. But very, very cool-looking car right there. I like it a lot. For some reason, the good-looking cars always run up towards the front, so we'll see how that ends up panning out here. For heat race number 1, starting on the pole is going to be Robbie Keneally, Richie Coy in 2nd, John Andre III starts 3rd, Anthony Bello in 4th, Kyle Thoreau starts 5th, Cameron Leibel in 6th, Josh Schlatt starts in 7th, he's new to this series, Greg Estelle in 8th, Timothy Baker in 9th, Robert Driscoll 10th, Mark DeMora Jr. in 11th, Ed Severell in 12th, and Nicky Vecchiarioli starts in 13th. I think Ed Severell right there has several cars to pass if he wants to get up towards the front. The top 5 are going to advance from this heat. There will be a consolation event towards the end. There's 3 heat races. So keep in mind, it's going to be a very, very interesting run here. A lot of drivers could get sent home.
Waiting for one driver to pop up on the grid, Nicky Vecchiarioli. I don't believe she took a lap in qualifying and is scheduled to start this event 13th. So we might just go with 12 here, led by Robbie Keneally, who was fastest in qualifying a little bit ago. Richie Coy, 2nd, John Andre 3rd. You want to be, and we talk about it every Friday night, Jeff, qualifying, so important because you want to start toward the front of these qualifying heats that can sometimes be tough to get through in one piece.
You're absolutely right, because everybody wants to get their piece of the pie here. And it's going to be some interesting racing up towards the front, but if you're down there on the inside line, you got a good advantage. You just got to get into that top 5 and fight and hold your position.
We're going to get the one-to-go signal. Lights will go off on the pace car and around the speedway, much like in the real world. It'll be Keneally and Coy. This is qualifying heat race number 1 on this Wednesday night. The final scheduled fan night for the fans that are not registered competitors at the Stafford Motor Speedway in the real world. This is their opportunity to join the real world competitors on Friday night. Josh Slat's disappearing from timing and scoring for a moment. He's back now as we are set to go green. Robbie Keneally, Richie Coy off turn 4. Jeff, take it away for the start of qualifying heat race number 1.
Green flag is in the air. They're side by side up at the front, but the inside line prevails. Robbie Keneally pulling away on the inside. There goes John Andrade the third now as well. The 14 is up there sticking his nose in it. That is Kyle Thoreau on the inside. I'm sorry, that's not Kyle Thoreau. That's Cameron Leibel now down there on the inside. Thoreau falls in behind. Coming to the line here. The top 5 is Robbie Keneally, John Andrade third, Richie Coy, Cameron Leibel, Anthony Bello, Kyle Thoreau. Top rounds out the top 6. 7th is Josh Latz, Greg Estelle in 8th. There's an incident further back involving Mark DeMoro Jr. and Ed Several, so those drivers are way far back.
Yeah, I believe Timothy Baker might have been involved in that as well.
Wreck in turn 1.
They're wrecking turn number 1.
Schlatt's involved. Now the caution flag is in the air. No, it's not. They are stuck off track. Back up front to Keneally now. It's a side-by-side battle. That's a lap car there. Caution flag now in the air.
Yeah, Robert Driscoll, the lap car, goes a lap down to the race leader. Robbie Keneally has led all the laps thus far and will lead us now under the caution flag. And we should mention that the caution laps, all of the events tonight, will count toward the total. So we have completed 4 of 10 laps, and those laps will continue to click away here as we continue under the caution. So there's a pretty good chance we'll only have a 2 or 3 lap shootout to finish this one, with Keneally leading the way over Andrade in 2nd. You have Richie Coy in 3rd, Cameron Leibel in 4th, and Kyle Thoreau rounding out the top 5, and currently on the bubble in that final transfer spot. A couple of big names outside of the top 5 right now, Jeff, that going to need to race their way up, gain a few spots here at these closing laps.
You're absolutely right. There's nothing really more frustrating, I would say, than being stuck farther back. You know you've only got a couple laps there to get up towards the front. Everyone's going to be battling. If you're in the top 5, you are going to be doing everything you can to hold on to that position. If you're outside, you got to do everything you can to stay in there. So these guys will have green-white checkers in these heat races should they need them. But we have Dylan Kopeck up there. He calls himself Scott Tapley Jr. Scott Tapley being the race director over at Stafford Motor Speedway, helping to make sure that these drivers keep it clean and throwing the cautions when we need them. Halfway through the race, we have 1 caution so far. Let's see if they're able to keep it clean the rest of the way.
Tapley, one of the guests on the Bottom Shot podcast that is available here on the Stafford YouTube channel and many of the podcasting platforms that are out there on the interwebs. Ryan Priest, Mike Christopher Sr., Rick Fuller, Jerry Pearl, Doug Kobe, Woody Pitcat, just a few of the names that Paul and I have been able to sit down with and get to know their history here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Some of those drivers continuing to build on their history. Others, like Mike Christopher Sr., coaching and working with his son every Friday night, the next generation of the Christopher family at Stafford. So be sure to check out Bottom Shot Podcast on Stafford's YouTube channel or on podcast applications. I thought we were going to get the one to go there. The lights remain on. So, Jeff, it looks like it will be a green-white checker finish to determine qualifying heat race number 1.
It will be in spirit, but it doesn't use up one of those attempts. Should we need to take one later, we'll have to see what happens here, though. If there's a big enough wreck, Dylan Kopeck will throw the caution here, keep everyone in line, keep everything fair. And right now, they are getting ready to take the they are getting ready to take the green flag by lining up double file, and they will be back around the track shortly.
So what you're saying is you don't believe in them and that they can get through 2 laps, 1 mile worth of racing here coming up.
I am talking purely about speculation. There are many different opportunities for things to happen. So if they do need another opportunity, Dylan Kopeck can throw the caution if they need it, but they might not. We'll have to see how it ends up going here. That's the one thing. There's 2 things you can't predict: the weather and how this is going to go here. So right now they're coming off turn 4.
Keneally, the race leader, leads it back to the line, and you couldn't predict that either. As Andrade gets out of shape, goes to the infield, and takes out another competitor, and we go back under the caution. Imagine
Well, I'm sure glad we know what could happen now if there were a caution to come out right away. I'm sure glad everybody knows, because they're all sitting there saying, now we are going to watch a green-white checkered. This is attempt number 1 of 3.
Richie Coy, the other driver involved in car number 19, was able to continue on and only lose, I believe, 1 spot. So they'll re-rack them, and we'll have another shot at a green-white checker. Again, the lap count continues. We're at lap 10 of 12, but that will go up by 2 from the current lap that we're on. So until we can get to the finish and get back to green. Again, we're back at it Friday night, the final scheduled event. We're not saying that we're done with iRacing forever, but it might be a little bit of a break here as we get set for hopefully the summer stretch of racing and the start of racing in the real world. But Friday night, final scheduled night, and it will be Tour Type Modifieds as well. Brian Narducci, I believe the last Tour Type Modified winner back on May 15th. Kyle Souza also has a Tour Type win on May 8th. Hard to believe, Jeff, we have been doing this every week, and for the most part, twice a week since March 27th, which was right around the start of the shutdown. I believe we were at that point about a week and a half or 2 weeks into the shutdown here in Connecticut, and it seems like light years ago at this point.
It really does, and with the way everything's going now, I don't know what to expect in the coming months, but I sure hope we will be able to get back to the track soon. I'm sure you all saw the Race Day CT article talking about we want to get back to the track within a month, so everyone keep your fingers, toes, everything you possibly can crossed here that we can get back to racing soon. We are on the tail end of this, so it's very exciting stuff.
Obviously, NASCAR continuing to open up, and now fans will be welcome to the racetrack next week in Talladega. So positive signs pointing toward a busy summer and hopefully a summer full of fans back at the racetrack. Off of turn 4, though, here at the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway, take 2 on a green-white checker finish here in this qualifying event, and Robbie Keneally again takes the top spot away. Cameron Liabelle looks like has moved up into the 2nd spot. Greg Estelle 3rd. Richie Coy, who was involved in that incident, may sport a little bit of damage. Right now in a transfer spot in 4th in a side-by-side race for that battle.
Side by side right now for 4th place. The outside line, though, really suffers here at Stafford, and we're going to see that right here. Now the 51 Anthony Bello is to the inside. A bottom shot move coming, maybe, maybe not. It's going to be a drag race off turn number 4. The 51 has the advantage, gets into the 57. The 40 goes spinning. Oh, my goodness, at the end, Robbie Keneally wins it. Cameron Liebel in 2nd, Richie Coy 3rd, Greg Estelle in 4th. Very exciting battle right there for 5th place. Anthony Bello steals it. John Andrade III finishes in 6th. Josh Latz started in 7th, finishes in 7th. Kyle Thoreau in 8th. Mark DeMauro Jr. in 9th. Ed Several 10th. And those were all your lead lap finishers. Timothy Baker and Robert Driscoll both finished off of the lead lap, 2 down.
Nicky Vicarioli did not start the event, so qualifying heat race number 1, a bit eventful in the books. Qualifying heat number 2, getting set to take their positions on the front stretch. Tyler Wood, Brian Blanchard will make up the front row. Couple of familiar names to running well on Wednesday nights and on Friday nights, along with Justin Williams and Kyle Casagrande. Zane Farrell and Jake Douglas will round out the front 3 rows. Then it's Nick Ferolino, Dennis Adamo. You have, help me out with this one, Rob Hoekstra and Brian Bianchi, rounding out the top 10 starters. Heidi Belinsky and rounding out the field, Dylan Kopech entered in the event, but obviously he is signed in but not participating as the race director.
There's also Corey Berry, who did not take a time in qualifying, who may or may not be here. We'll have to see.
Yep. Currently slated to start in 12th alongside Heidi Belansky in that 6th row as the field continues to grid. It looks like we have everybody, including Corey Berry, lined up, ready to go, and they'll begin their parade and pace laps here in just a moment. Again, tonight's action brought to you by the Horton Group. They've been with us about every Wednesday night here on the iRacing platform for these fan events that have been pretty popular, averaging 35 to 40 events or 40 fans every week, trying to finish in the top 5. Be allowed to advance into Friday night's race program. Field makes their way into turn number 3. Who do you like in this one, Jeff? You've been watching practice earlier. You know a lot of these drivers from other leagues as well. A lot of familiar faces up at the front, especially in those front 2 rows.
There are. I think Ryan Blanchard really does have a good chance here tonight, though. He's a member of a racing team known as the Posse. That includes members such as Ty Majeski and a super late model driver named Brian Tedeschi, who I actually happened to go to school with. Met him out at school, talked to him, knew him for a year and a half before putting 2 and 2 together and going, wait, you're a professional NASCAR heat driver and drive super late models and are on iRacing. So he's got some really strong teammates behind him. And they're talking him through it, I'm sure, and helping him plan. Right now, coming off turn 4, keep an eye on him.
Here we go. Tyler Wood, Ryan Blanchard, front row. 10 laps the distance, qualifying heat race number 2 for these Tour Type Modifieds. Gets the green flag in the outside lane, gets the jump. Wood and then Blanchard still locked up side by side. Now the inside lane advances off of turn number 2 with Tyler Wood taking the top spot. Blanchard in second. Justin Williams sliding in the line in third. Then they stack up from about 4th on back to lap 1.
Kyle Casagrande manages to hold on to 4th place there. Zane Farrell in 5th, but gets a bump there. The 32 gets a shove. That's Zane Farrell. Jake Douglas now working the inside. Oh, there they go around on the backstretch. Just some bumping gone wrong. You know what they say, rubbing is racing, but that was a little bit more than rubbing.
Now, Brian Bianchi, I believe, that might have got a piece of that. Zane Farrell, a piece of that as well. Let's take a look at how this happened. Just behind, it looks like Casagrande off of turn 4 while they were battling for the 5th spot. One car almost going up and over there on the back straightaway. Farrell, Jake Douglas might have been involved as well. Corey Berry. 3 cars that might have had a little bit of contact there as they spin and wreck it heading into turn 3 on the initial lap. It's been eventful thus far. Had a couple of cautions in the first heat race. And now Jake Douglas finds himself on the pit lane trying to repair some damage. And we don't even get a lap and a half in here before we go under caution here in qualifying heat race number 2. The second of 3 heat races that is here this evening. Then we'll have a last chance race to fill the field for tonight's 80-lap feature event. Tyler Wood showing the way under this caution flag. Ryan Blanchard in second. Looked like the outside lane might have had the jump there with Blanchard on that initial start, Jeff, but then slid up maybe a bit too high in turn 1, and the inside lane got the momentum that Wood was looking for on the bottom.
You're right. I noticed there what caused that wreck is Jake Douglas coming off the turn. It looked like the car was pointed straight. I think he thought the car was straight, but all of a sudden the back end fishtailed. So we're seeing there, and other drivers are seeing this as well. They saw him get all 4 tires on the apron to make a very, very aggressive exit from the turn by having all 4 tires down there at the bottom and just getting a straight shot. They saw the back end step out, so I think the drivers are going to be a little more careful here if they're down on the inside. So that's good if you're up there on the outside line, and you might have an advantage.
They have that high side momentum up the back straightaway here at the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway. It looks like the field still not given the one to go signal. They're getting the field in their proper restart positions. I believe everybody is still on the lead lap. They are. Jake Douglas made that pit stop, but was able to make it back out and stay on the lead lap. Zane Farrell back there as well will restart 11th. 2 of the drivers involved in this latest incident. Rob Hoekstra currently in the 5th and final transfer spot. Nick Frolino in 6th, the first driver outside looking in car number 55. Brian Bianchi also outside looking in along with Dennis Adamo. Field 1 to go. Looks like we'll go green this time by, Jeff.
Going green this time by. They are doubled up. Ryan Blanchard, though, still stuck up there on the outside. We'll see what he's able to do. I think his plan of attack is going to be Tyler Wood will probably get clear just having that momentum from the inside line. If he can get in front of Justin Williams, get right behind Tyler Wood, we could see a shot to the back bumper, and he'll slip right by on the bottom. But a We'll have to see how it plays out. Coming off turn number 4, they are side by side. A great jump on the inside for Tyler Wood. Now Blanchard is right behind. They're side by side for third.
Justin Williams and Kyle Casagrande in that battle for the third spot. Williams takes the position away on the inside. Casagrande falls into line in fourth in that orange number 7. Then the battle for fifth goes way up the racetrack. Nick Frolino in car number 55. And he has Hoekstra to the bottom. They go side by side for the fifth spot. One car out of shape further back. Might be Dennis Ameo as we continue under the green flag into the final lap. This time by, it'll be the white flag for Tyler Wood and Ryan Blanchard.
Here comes Blanchard on the bottom, but he's not getting the run off the corners that Tyler Wood is able to get. Blanchard is faster in, but Wood is carrying a lot of speed on corner exit. They're almost identical. Take a ride along here. Look at it from his perspective. He's hard on the chip right there. Really driving it deep into turn 3, giving it everything he's got, but it's not quite enough to get around Tyler Wood. He holds on to it. Wood wins it. Blanchard in second. Justin Williams comes home third. Kyle Casagrande in fourth. A great battle back there for fifth. Comes out with Nick Frolino on top. Zane Farrell in sixth. Corey Berry seventh. Rob Hoekstra in eighth. Jake Douglas ninth. And Dennis Ademo comes out in 10th. In 11th was Brian Bianchi, Heidi Bylensky in 12th, and Dylan Kopech is our race director here, Scott Tapley Jr.
Looks like it was Bylansky that went around coming to the white flag on the front straightaway. She finished the race one lap down as we are set for qualifying heat race number 3. I believe the final one of our 3 qualifying events here this evening before we get into the Consis. Aaron Plemons, Ryan Libby make up the front row, Nicholas Hovey and Jason Woke in row number 2, Thomas Namikas and Frank Perez in row number 3. That's further back, Pete Yetman, Peyton Henry, who I've followed for quite some time, a former go-kart driver up at Stafford Speedway, Ron Midford rounding out the top 9, Zachary Sangermano in 10th, and it's Alex Larkin and Brett Murphy rounding out the 12 drivers that'll take the green flag here in this third and final qualifying event. Frank Perez, the last to join the session, or the last to join this qualifying event. Looks like all 12 starters in line, ready to go 1 lap from now. And again, I think it's obvious, Jeff, who the favorites are. Right up there toward the front from qualifying, Aaron Plemons, strong here on Wednesdays, just as strong on Friday nights as has been Ryan Libby.
Absolutely. Those two have been really some of the big names here that everyone's watching week in and week out. Aaron Plemons in qualifying in 18.367. That is lightning quick for these drivers out here, so he's starting out front. Ryan Libby, though, he's racing around other cars. He is really good at working his way with some surgical precision to get around the track. Let's see how they do coming off turn number 4.
Aaron Plemons to the bottom, car number 67. Ryan Libby topside, car 46, green flag. 10 laps here in qualifying heat race number 3. We are underway. Frank Perez, that looks like a weak connection further back, drifts back and kind of stacks the field up behind him, and now they're wrecking up the back straightaway as the top 5 drivers have singled out. But we will go under caution with Aaron Plemons leading the way. And I think there's a rule, Jeff, where if you're blinking too much, you'll get a warning and then you're going to get tossed, as we'll get an onboard replay here with Alex Larkin, or a look from Alex Larkin, as he was at the back of the field when they hit turn number 1, and all the action's going to begin in front of him. And just had nowhere to go.
You're exactly right. Nowhere to go for him, and he just got wrapped up in it. But look at how big, you can recall how big that air intake at the front is. It really limits the driver's visibility here. So sometimes you can have something going on right in front of you, and you just can't see it. And it was really, really bad on the old build of the modifieds that was happening here on iRacing. In these newer ones, it's a little smaller, you have a little more visibility, but still, it's very difficult to see things sometimes.
Ron Midford on pit road, the only driver that has been on the pit lane after that incident. He is the running in 12th and the only driver not on the lead lap. Talk about those cars that are blinking, Jeff. There's a warning. It means, I guess, there's a poor internet connection on their system, and if it happens multiple times, they may be ejected from the session.
Well, that is the case. it's typically a weak internet connection that causes it. It can be caused by a CPU that's overloaded and a car will blink. They'll see everything else going on around them, but other people will say they're blinking. But typically it's just a poor internet connection. It's not strong enough to consistently keep them in the same place and track their movement and location at every single spot along the racetrack. So if for a split second the internet connection isn't strong enough, the car will disappear because iRacing doesn't know where it is. It takes it off the track so nobody can run into it, but at the same time, if you're blinking too much, it can cause issues.
Happens to me in real life. My CPU just kind of blinks, and I have a brain fart every once in a while, especially up in the booth at Stafford. Sometimes, especially on opening day. Opening day's tough.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, I can definitely relate to you there. Sometimes with these broadcasts, I'll be looking at it and I just sort of go blank and my mind is just gone. And then I'm right back, but that split second just gone. Nothing's going on. No, the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Harder to come back the older you get, and you will learn that as you get older. You're only, 18 years old now, or 16, something like that. Kidding, of course, Jeff, as we come off of turn 4. Green flag is out. Aaron Clemens, the leader, over Ryan Libby. Hovey is third, and top 3 quickly get single file. They're getting at it hot and heavy from 4th on back.
4th on back, hot and heavy. Very interesting way to put it. Jason Woke now sitting in 5th. There's a wreck for the back. Pete Yetman was running in 6th. Now he's up at the wall. No caution, though, as he's rolling. He is being told by the race director to get out of the way. Right now, they are working their way around 3 wide there. My goodness, they are trying to get around him as he's hitting pit road.
Zachary Sangermana also off the pace and 1 lap down as we go on board with Ryan Libby, who tucks back in the line behind Aaron Clemens. Looks to the outside lane, trying to build that run off of turn 2. Meanwhile, he has Nicholas Hovey to his inside, challenging for the 2nd spot. Hovey to the bottom, Libby topside, and now move Nicholas Hovey up and into the runner-up position. Well behind, though, Aaron Clemens, who's been able to break away.
He's pulled away by about half a second, which doesn't sound like much, but that 10 car length that he's got right now is serving him well. It's really hard to overcome that gap, especially in a fixed setup race like this. So these drivers are battling right now for second. Just a car length separates them, not even. But that lead for Aaron Clemens, he's going to hold on to it. White flag is in the air.
Into the final lap already. Again, with those caution laps under that yellow did count toward the total. So we are into the final lap here as Aaron Clemens leads off of turn number 4. Good battle for second behind him. Ryan Libby has a look to the inside, but will settle in the line for 3rd. Behind Clemens, Hovey, Libby, Namikis, and Woke rounding out the top 5. Frank Perez, the first driver to miss the event, will have to go to the Consi in 6th, along with Peyton Henry, Brett Murphy, Alex Larkin, Pete Yetman, also Zach Sangermano, rounding out the drivers that finished this event. Sangermano in the 11th spot. 9 drivers finishing on the lead lap. Ron Midford also struggled early on, finishing 9 laps down. He will go to the Consolation race, which is lining up right now on the racetrack, Jeff.
Consolation race number 1. They are lined up. John Andre III will start in 1st. Frank Perez in 2nd. Corey Berry in 3rd. Kyle Thoreau will start in 4th. And Brett Murphy in 5th. Jake Douglas starts 6th. Ed Several in 7th. Pete Yetman in 8th. Brian Bianchi in 9th. Robert Driscoll will start in 10th if he takes the grid. And Ron Midford in 11th. Doesn't look like Robert Driscoll is going to take the field here, though.
He's the only driver that has yet to pop up in timing and scoring, so everybody looks like will continue now without him. Driscoll scheduled to start in that 10th spot, as you mentioned. Again, all of tonight's action brought to you by the Horton Group. The fans-only night here this evening. These are drivers that are not registered to race at the Stafford Motor Speedway in the real world this year or participated last year. The drivers that have their registrations in for this year and competed last year automatically race in the drivers portion of our weekly get-together on Friday night. And the top 5 fans from tonight's 80-lap feature will move into the main event for Friday night later on this week. So lights are off on the pace car. This is qualifying. Make that Consolation event number 1 of 2. And it is still 5 that transfer into the feature event later this evening. John Andrade and Frank Perez to green, car 57, and car 7 is outside.
Getting ready to take the green flag. It's in the air. John Andrade, the third, now up in first place. Outside, Frank Perez gets a shot from the 69, who's going around. Oh, no, they are wrecking, but they're holding on to it here. Green flag is going to stay in the air, but Kyle Thoreau, no, caution flag now out.
Yeah, Kyle Thoreau, the driver that lost the most spots in that turn 1 incident, falling to the 8th position. And we'll take a look at a replay here in a moment as the field crosses the line. Will be picked up by the pace car off of turn number 2, and we'll click a few more laps under the caution flag here as we get a look at the 69 car, Kyle Thoreau. And this is coming to the green flag.
Oh, 14 got loose too.
And several drive. Ron Midford involved again. He's had a tough 10 minutes or so, getting collected in an early accident in his qualifying event, and now here in lap number 1 of this Consolation event. And again, it looked like he was by it and simply got tagged, and the left rear got turned around. And now will be the last car running on the lead lap. Brian Bianchi, currently 10th, 1 lap down.
Oh, that's a heartbreak. It's so frustrating when you're there and you've made it through the wreck and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I did it. They're all wrecking below me. And then all of a sudden you feel that shot to the left rear and you get sent around. I've learned a lot in VR, especially for a lot of these drivers, anyone running VR. It's so frustrating because you're looking straight ahead and you hear your spotter say clear, and then you feel that shot to the left rear and you just know the car's already gone around.
So a shot like that, say for Ryan Midford, since we're talking about him, and he got that shot a moment ago, falling to 9th, how much damage will he have if he doesn't make a stop? And will the car be able to, can he run these last 6 or 7 laps?
Absolutely, his car is going to be fine, I think. Taking that hit in the left rear, there's enough padding and everything behind it that it's not going to damage the car. He's not going to cut a tire or anything. But the car that hit him, smashing their nose into it, yeah, that could hurt the car. The car that hit the other one could take more damage than the car that gets hit.
5 cars transfer, and we have completed half a green flag lap here in this event after the incident in turn number 1. Andrade, the race leader, and then it's Frank Perez in 2nd, Corey Berry 3rd, Brett Murphy in 4th, Pete Yetman rounding out the top 5. Jake Douglas, one of about 4 other drivers on the lead lap, needing to gain some spots, move their way into the top 5. So come off of turn number 4, and already
Pete
a car
Yetman's
out
spinning.
of shape. Yep, Pete
He's
Yetman
around.
was in a transfer spot in the top 5. In fact, was running 4th, got the car, or 3rd rather, car got sideways. He ran around,
Another
but they're still
caution.
wrecking in front of him, so Pete Yetman may not be out of this one yet.
Most certainly is not out of it yet. Now Jake Douglas, oh man, the 23 dives it in deep and catches the 26. You see it here, dives it in, gets the 26, and then boom, pile driven. And he actually gets hit by, we've talked about a lot here, Ron Midford, just nowhere to go for him. He's carrying a lot of speed. Oh, and then coming back on track, he nails Pete Yetman again. So a lot of damage for that 21 car.
Pete Yetman, again, restarted in the 2nd row a couple laps ago, got loose on the restart, spun to the infield, and then got collected in the 2nd incident that happened off of turn number 2 as he was getting back up to speed. That involved Douglas and Brett Murphy and Ron Midford. So the top 5, I believe, are the only 5 that haven't been involved in something here in the 2 attempts to start this Consolation event that may only see 2 laps of green flag racing. Already working lap number 8 of 10. That number will be extended here to try to get a green flag finish. Andrade, the race leader. Corey Berry, Kyle Therault was 3rd. Now he's going to settle back in 4th. Frank Perez running 3rd. Ed Several rounding out the top 5.
And you know who's sitting in 6th? The driver that's had so much trouble here tonight, Ron Midford. He could make something happen here, starting in 11th and working his way up to 5th place. We'll get him into the event, so that's exciting to see. It's fun having those stories like that, where somebody starts all the way at the back and they just keep catching the short end of the stick over and over and over, and you're sitting there going, nothing is going right for this guy. And I can guarantee you Ron is frustrated behind the wheel going, can I just catch a break? And the day I catch a break is the day I'll keel over and die, it feels like. But right there, it could happen. If he needs to make one pass here, and he will lock himself in. And that would be a pretty fun story here tonight, I think.
Yeah, and don't count out Pete Yetman. Was running well in the top 5 a couple laps ago for the last restart. And then he was involved in both of the incidents. An incident by himself on the front straightaway, and then as he was getting back up to speed, was collected in the secondary incident. So we know he has a fast race car, and he'll have to pass, looks like 2 to make the top 5. Ron Midford is 5th because Jake Douglas has made a stop on pit road. Still on the lead lap. And the last 2 cars off the lead lap that have been involved in incidents that have put them out of the event, Brian Bianchi and Robert Driscoll, as the field should get the one-to-go signal this time by. Andrade the leader, Corey Berry second. Field doubled up in rows of 2. The lights are out on the pace car. Attempt number 1, hopefully, of 1 here in this first Consolation event. There's a second coming up and then an 80-lap feature for these tour-type modifieds. Again, top 5 later on tonight in the 80-lap feature. Move in to Friday night's race program and join the drivers from the Stafford Motor Speedway.
It's going to be very exciting to watch that race as it forms up. But speaking of forming up here at the front, coming off turn 4, John Andrade leads the way, gets a shot to the back bumper from Frank Perez. And he gets a good jump out front. He's going to be clear of Corey Berry going into turn 1. And let's see a wreck behind. A lot of cars involved. Ron Midford's in there as well. He left. Ron Midford immediately towed it back to pit road. I think his night is over.
Ed Several, I think, might have been the first car to get around. Brett Murphy, Jake Douglas, all might have got a piece of that. It happened. Only the top 4 drivers escaped, led by Andrade, Corey Berry, Perez, Kyle Thuralt, and now Jake Douglas being shown in position number 5. The 23 up against the outside wall. That is Douglas. And then the incident behind him that forced Ron Midford to retire from the event. Been a tough one. I know we've had a lot of tough heat races and consolation races, but I don't remember one as tough as this, where we're having a tough time getting one green flag lap in, and now we're heading into our second attempt at a green-white checker finish.
2 attempts. They get 3, and now Ron Midford, unfortunately, isn't going to make it. Pete Yetman still could. There's 8 cars remaining in this race. Top 5 are going to advance.
All of which are on the lead lap, Yetman being the last of those in 8th, and Brett Murphy 7th, Ed Several in 6th. Those are the 3 drivers that need to gain some track position here over these last 2 laps. Jake Douglas is in 5th on the bubble. Kyle Thuralt 4th, Frank Perez 3rd, Corey Berry 2nd, and then John Andrade, who has led all the laps thus far in car number 57, continues to lead here. However, we've only got maybe 1 green flag lap in total in this event. So it has been a tough one, and we're working lap number 15 now. And at least 13 of those have been under the caution flag. So attempt number 2 coming up here. Get all the action brought to you by the Horton Group here tonight for this fans-only event. We also want to mention, check out a lot of the info from the Stafford Motor Speedway weekly and even daily, hopefully, once we get going here soon on StaffordSpeedway.com, your source for the latest news. A lot of good feature articles on the drivers that compete every Friday night at Stafford. And then, of course, right here on the YouTube channel, a lot of great content as well. I know Bonds is a history buff. Jeff, have you been able to watch a lot of the classic races that Stafford has been posting these last couple of months? A lot of great events from the past, including the old Busch North Series and the old Winston Modified Tour.
You know, I've tried to keep up to date with everything. I just launched a small business, McConey Setup Shop, so I've not really had the time to sit and watch all these awesome races. But as soon as everything sort of plateaus and levels out, I'm really excited to get to the channel and watch a lot of those.
We hope for your sake that, your business is steady and maybe it doesn't plateau. So.
Well, I don't know. If I reach that point where I've found my customers and they are very happy with what they've got, it's okay. It's not about the money. It's about learning and helping other people, and the money just is what keeps it going so that I can continue to host it.
Single file restart for these modifieds for the final 2 laps here in attempt number 2. John Andrade, Corey Berry, Frank Perez, Kyle Thoralt, Jake Douglas for our top 5. It's spread out at the front. That might be a good thing for all, except for those that are outside looking in right now, including Ed Several, Brett Murphy, and Pete Yetman, as the field works up the back straightaway into turn 3. Everybody's chasing John Andrade, and it looks like we're actually going to get to the white flag. Final lap for Andrade. Corey Berry second, Frank Perez third, and it looks like, Jeff, they are all pretty much strung out. Good battle from third on back as the field works into turn number 3. Andrade comes off of turn number 4 and will pick up the race win here in Consolation event number 1 over Corey Berry, Frank Perez, Kyle Thoralt, and make that Kyle Thoralt in third, Jake Douglas fourth, Frank Perez in fifth. The drivers that will advance into the feature event here coming up in a little bit. Ed Several in 6th, then it's Brett Murphy 7th, Pete Yetman in 8th, all on the lead lap, but unfortunately for Several, Murphy and Yetman will miss the event, along with a couple of those other drivers in the back, including Robert Driscoll, who didn't really get a lap in to that event. As we get set for Consolation event number 2, final spots going to be lined up here in this final spots will be set in the 80-lap feature through this event. Zane Farrell will lead the field to the green over Josh Slats. Peyton Henry in row number 2 over Rob Hoekstra. Then it's going to be Mark DeMauro Jr. in position number 5. Alex Larkin will make up row number 3. Further back, Dennis DeMauro in 7th, Timothy Baker 8th, Zach Sangerbano in 9th, and Heidi Belansky rounding out the 10-car field. Nikki Vacarioli scheduled to compete here, but haven't seen Nikki in either qualifying or the heat race. Field beginning to roll for the first pace lap. Underway here in just a moment. Thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday night as we continue to set the field for tonight's 80-lap feature. Again, we do this all over again on Friday nights. The field going to get the 1-to-go signal this time by. And Jeff, this is it. Final opportunity for these drivers to make their way into the big dance here later tonight.
That it is. It's their last chance to make it in, and they are, I'm sure, sitting there with their fingers, toes, legs, everything possibly crossed so that they don't experience a major issue like their internet cutting out in the middle of doing something very important. Not like that would ever happen to anyone, no.
That just happened to you?
Yeah, my internet cut out. Thank you. Thank you, Charter.
Heard you go away, heard you come back, and well, I'm glad you're back. How about you bring us to the green flag here. Zane Farrell, Josh Slats make up row number 1 as we go green.
Green flag is in the air. Josh Slats with a rough start on the outside. He's going to slide down to the inside line now. No, he's going to ride the outside, try and make it work, but there's not too much speed out there. So now he's going to slide into third, but they're wrecking further back. The 94's around, but the green flag's still in the air.
Dennis DeMauro goes around, or Dennis Diemo goes around, and we continue under the green 4 now as Zane Farrell comes off of turn 4 to lead lap number 1 over Peyton Henry as they go back into turn 1, riding on board with our second-place competitor right now, Peyton Henry, looking back, that is, at Josh Slats, running in the 3rd spot, and a good battle behind them as well for position number 5, and that's where things are really beginning to heat up. Mark DeMauro Jr. in 5th, but he's got company on his back bumper right here, Timothy Baker in 6th.
That is a battle right now for a top 5 spot. Remember, it's the top 5 that advance here, so expect these drivers to be giving everything that they've got right now to get into the top 5. We see a battle brewing back there. Timothy Baker now. Look behind him. That's Zachary Sangermano now, who is slid in behind, and he's looking for that 5th place spot.
Yeah, Sangermano, the first driver outside looking in right now in 6th. Timothy Baker on the bubble, on board with Baker, looking back at Sangermano. Got a little out of shape there off of turn number 4, lost some ground to Timothy Baker. Peyton Henry in a battle for the second spot. Josh Slatz is right there in third. In fact, with Slatz now off of turn number 4 and already halfway through this consolation event, the final consolation event of the evening. Top 5 moving into the future event. Slatz closing in, trying to close in on Peyton Henry for that second spot.
Schlatt is pretty new to iRacing. He's only been on the service for about 6 weeks, but he has some real-world racing experience. He's carrying it over. He's really flexing his muscles in the Tour Modifieds, especially here on iRacing. He was a ranked driver last season, and he's talked to us earlier. He is really looking forward to this season coming up. He's going to be running for the division championship, if not the overall championship for the Tour Mods here on iRacing.
Has an A-class license for Josh Slatz, running in third right now, still unable to move around. Peyton Henry in position number 2 as we are into the final laps of this event. Zane Farrell leads the way, and he is all by himself, a very comfortable 1.7 second advantage. Back to Peyton Henry in second into the final 2 laps now. Slatz is third, Hoekstra fourth, and Timothy Baker rounding out the top 5. This is the complete opposite of what we saw in the first consolation event, as one car is in the grass, but shouldn't put us under the caution flag as we are entering the final lap here coming up shortly.
White flag is in the air out front. You see Zane Farrell saying farewell to everybody else here. He's got a 2.5 lead over Peyton Henry. Peyton Henry's got a couple car lengths over Josh Slatz, who's got over 2.5 seconds back to Rob Hoekstra and Timothy Baker. The top 5 right there, locked in. They all cross the line. That's going to send Mark DeMauro Jr., Zachary Sangermano, Heidi Polanski, and Alex Larkin, as well as Dennis Adamo, all home at the end of this event.
Half make it in. The others will be watching from the comfort of their couch later this evening here, the 80-lap feature, which is next. There'll be a few minutes to get out on the racetrack, do a final warm-up session, as you call it. Again, the temperatures probably have changed a bit from the start of this event 54 minutes ago when we came on the air. Still 77 degrees, but it looks like that track temp went down a few degrees. 85 degrees for the track temp.
So we're going to see when the temperature drops, the times also drop. We could break 18 seconds here. Going down 8 degrees doesn't sound like much, but here in iRacing, that is huge. Keep an eye on that.
Keep an eye on the lap times, keep you up to speed on who is fastest in this final, I guess call it happy 5-minute practice, already 50 seconds into this final practice session. Again, want to mention and thank the Horton Group for their participation, their sponsorship for this Wednesday night fan event. For the last several Wednesday nights, last couple of months, we have run these fan events. Horton Group has been right alongside with us, founded in 2000. They are an award-winning full-service construction and general contracting, facilities maintenance firm specializing in developing and building a variety of projects in the residential and commercial sectors. For more information, visit their website at www.hortongroup.llc.com. And again, this is the final scheduled Horton fan event right now on the calendar, as will be our final Friday night event, which is sponsored by All Phases Renovations, where those drivers will race for a purse on Friday evening in their Tour-type modified 80-lap events. And then the focus, hopefully, will be toward reopening the state of Connecticut, which will happen in Phase 2 next week. And then hopefully not too shortly after that, within the next couple of weeks, hopefully sooner, we'll get a better idea of when the Stafford Motor Speedway will reopen. And you mentioned the article earlier this week, Jeff, that was out. And the hope is when they open, there will be fans in the stands. We've seen tracks across the country open their facility, but not allow fans on the property. The only way to watch would be to get a pay-per-view feature, or in the case of Greenville-Pickens Speedway in South Carolina, park their car on a tiered back straightaway, which is a fantastic idea, and it's been something that's been there for a number of years and was put to use here these last couple of weeks.
I believe Thunder Valley up in Vermont.
Thunder Road, yep.
Thunder Road, that's right. Thunder Road, not Thunder Valley. Very unique track. I haven't been there before, but I've heard a whole lot about it. They're doing a pay-per-view event on New England Sports Network, NESN. So there's many ways to skin a cat, and if you want to get revenue in for your track and hold races and all that, you can either do the banked slope, like you said, with the cars. You can do pay-per-view events, or you can do an event like this where we have it on iRacing and competitors can tune in and can compete, and fans can tune in and enjoy.
And like I've talked on my NASCAR Coast to Coast show every week on the Motor Racing Network, every short track is different. Every track has a different business model. Every facility is different, and how they can accommodate the competitors, the fans. I mean, everything's laid out differently at every racetrack, and then to add another layer onto that, a lot of these racetracks are all in different states, and every state is in a different phase of reopening, so it is very complicated. I do not envy track operators right now trying to at least get a partial season in before winter sets back in. Thankfully, we're only into the second week of June, and we have some time to do that here up in New England. And hopefully it's one of those New Englands those years where the warm weather continues into October, because I have a feeling we might be doing some racing up here in New England in October, just to try to catch up and make up for some of those lost events here in April and May.
Absolutely right, and I'm excited for that as well. Unfortunately, just because the racing season gets pushed back, that doesn't mean that school gets pushed back. So
Correct.
I'm only gonna be here at Stafford until probably the second week of August, because I go back and classes start the 24th. But I'm really excited to get back to the track. I wish I could stay the entire time. I really, really do, but I don't know. What is the kid studying engineering and looking to go into broadcasting to do when he has to go back to school?
That's true. And I guess going back to school will probably benefit you the most in the long run. Robbie Keneally picking up the top spot in this practice session. Doesn't mean a whole lot. Maybe gives him a bit of confidence, though, Jeff, heading into this feature event, which, oh, by the way, he's going to start on the pole as the field begins to grid here on the front straightaway.
Getting ready to take the grid. Robbie Keneally leads the way. Tyler Wood in second. Aaron Plemons will start third. Cameron Leibel in fourth. Ryan Blanchard starts in fifth. Ryan Libby in sixth. Starting in seventh is going to be John. Oh, no, hang on. Hang on. I got timing scoring all messed up. I've got Nicholas Hovey starting in sixth. Richie Coy in seventh. Justin Williams in eighth. Ryan Libby in ninth. Greg Estelle in 10th. Kyle Casagrande 11th. Thomas Namikis in 12th. And Anthony Bello in 13th. That's the top half of the field. Why don't you take us through the bottom half?
And Nick Frolino in the 14th spot. Jason Wolk in 15th. John Andrade, one of the drivers, one of the winners in the Consolation event a few moments ago, in 16th. Zane Farrell, Corey Berry, Peyton Henry, and Kyle Theriault rounding out the top 20. Then it's Josh Slats, Jake Douglas, Rob Hoekstra, and Frank Perez, the 24 drivers, first 24 drivers, and Timothy Baker making up the 25th and final starter in this event. Looks like everybody has gridded and is beginning to roll on the first parade pace lap here. 80 laps the distance. How do you manage tires, Jeff, over the course of 80 laps, and how quickly will they wear, especially that right front? We hear about the right front a lot in the real world. I assume it's the same here. Managing tires going to be a key here to doing well over the course of this 80-lap run.
That it is. It's very important for these drivers. And we could have been nice and given them a setup that takes a lot of the cross weight off of the front right. And in simpler terms, basically the less weight you have on the front right, the less it's going to wear, the less force that's on it, etc., etc. But we didn't do that. We wanted to give these guys something that was hard to drive, something that gets a little bit loose, and something that you have to wheel it. We're not going to make it easy on anybody. So it will come down to tires here, especially if there's a lot of long green flag runs. These drivers need to take care of their stuff and be smart by not overdriving the corners. And if it slides sideways, don't just stay on the gas and force the car to straighten out. You have to be careful here. Green flag is in the air, though. Up front, they are getting moving. Robbie Keneally leads the way.
Tyler Wood in the outside lane, already challenged by Aaron Plemons to the bottom in second, as Camille leads the way off of turn number 2 and up the back straightaway, and it looks like everybody has made it through.
Wrecking
the
turn
first,
3.
I shouldn't have even started to say
Oh,
that.
big wrecking turn 3. Wow. A lot of drivers involved. I see the 7, the 151, the 20. Let's take a look at the replay here. That wasn't a traffic jam. That was the whole highway falling apart. Looks like it started around the maybe 10th place position here. Oh, yeah, that was Justin Williams. No, the 8 car. I'm sorry. Not Justin Williams. That was, let's see,
Go to
Thomas
the bottom
Nemekis.
There you go.
Thomas Nemekis went around there.
And everybody had nowhere to go from there on back, and he collected a bunch. Put us under the caution flag early. You call it the broadcaster's jinx, and there we went, lap number 1, and already under the caution flag.
Yeah, definitely not good here for a lot of these drivers that got wrapped up in that. A lot of them might have some damage here, and a lot of them just had nowhere to go, really, and they get just wrapped up in it. The commentator's curse. Strikes once again.
Let's take a look at it now from Perez, as he was a driver that did well in the Consolation event, but other than that, a tough night.
Very unfortunate to see there, but now it's going to really shake up the way this field is running. Up front, it's still going to be Robbie Keneally. Now Aaron Plemons up to second. From 5th to 3rd goes Ryan Blanchard. But now it's a lot of shaking up a little further back. You see from 17th to 14th was Zane Farrell. 18th to 15th, Corey Berry. And Peyton Henry, Kyle Thoreau now. Josh Schlatt in 18th, Jake Douglas in 19th. All those drivers gained 3 positions, which means 3 drivers are now out of this race most likely.
Yeah, it looks like, it looks like everyone's right now on a lead lap. Nemekis is on pit road, car number 8. Greg Estelle back in 24th, but still on the lead lap. Nemekis now falls off the lead lap as the field crosses the start-finish line. Timothy Baker back there as well. So a wild opening lap, and it looks like we're going to get them re-racked here. Try it again. Working lap number 5 of 80. And it is Robbie Keneally leading the way over Aaron Plemons, who had a good initial start to this event, restarting now to the outside, front row, trying to get away a bit from Nicholas Hovey and Ryan Blanchard in row number 2. As we go back under the green flag, top 2 quickly get singled out. Aaron Plemons dives that 67 car right to the bottom of the racetrack behind Keneally.
Everybody managing to make it work so far. I'm not saying anything, but they're 3 wide there, the 14 in the middle. They all make it work, though. Coming to the line, a lap is complete. Keep an eye on timing and scoring, gsrc.tv, because there's a lot of movement going on throughout the field. It's very, very hectic towards the back, especially everyone trying to find their spot and work their way up through the field to get one of these top 5 spots. Let's take a look at Ryan Libby now as he's battling side by side.
Yeah, with Coy to the bottom, Richie Coy in that 19 car to the inside, Libby to the outside, and he will tuck back in the line right behind Richie Coy, just in front of Anthony Bello, who rides a car length behind him. Justin Williams in that pack of traffic as well, from 8th on back as we go. Robbie Keneally leading the way into turn 1 and beginning to pull away just a bit over Aaron Plemons. Keneally kind of new to this Stafford event, but not new to iRacing. Right now an A license, and he'll be a new name to our Friday night program as we got one in the wall. Nicholas Hovey a little too wide there off of turn number 4.
Wrecking turn 1, they held on to it. Sorry to interrupt, but man, the 69 car was pointed at Green Acres there in turn 1 and managed to save it.
We continue under the green flag. Hovey gets back in the line, losing 1 spot to Tyler Wood. Wood to 4th, Hovey to 5th. Laia Bell moving up into that battle. He is running in 6th. Then that battle we were watching a couple of laps ago with Coy, Libby, Bello, and Justin Williams. And everybody kind of strung out now, knowing that this is a long race and patience will be a factor. You can't use it all up here in the first
Jason
10
Wolf's
laps.
around.
Well, now Wolf goes around. Let's see if we stay under the green flag and we go on board with Libby running in 8th, trying to reel in Richie Coy. And it looks like we're going to keep it under the green flag. completing lap number 12 of this event. 80 again the distance here for the Tour Type Modifieds. And riding on board with Ryan Libby as he makes his way off of turn number 2. Boy, some action in front of him. They'll stack up.
Wow, and he's going to roll the outside now. He's going to have to make it work and adapt there. Very close call. An update on Jason Woke. He didn't spin out and lose the car. The engine blew up on him. The damage from before crept up on him. The car blew up. Now you see Ryan Libby, a side-by-side battle once again with that 19 car. He's going for the bottom shot move. All 4 tires on the apron here. Slides up a little bit. Still battling hard.
That was Cameron Lyabelle that got out of shape in front of those 2 cars. A lap and a half to go that made Coy and Libby check up, and nearly all 3 of them made contact. They continue to battle for position. Fortunately for them, back into the second half of the top 10 from 7th on back. Lyabelle in 6th, then it's Coy. Riding on board with Coy, looking to the inside is Libby, who goes to the bottom of the racetrack and picks up that spot. So move Libby up the spot. Coy is back to 8th. Justin Williams, a distant 9th, about 1.1 seconds behind this battle in the top 10. Further up, we have the battle for 3rd.
Side by side almost now for 3rd place. That is the end goal here for Tyler Wood as he's right on that back bumper of Blanchard. You saw Blanchard there on the entry of turn 3. The car got a little out of shape. He held on to it though, and now just 2 car lengths separates those 2. Tyler Wood is reeling them in though, put a fishing pole on the front of his car. Right now Ryan Blanchard is being reeled in by Tyler Wood, and he's going to make a move here in the next few laps.
And now right to the bottom of the racetrack, that car hooked up on the bottom, but the tighter you arc these corners here, Jeff, seems like that's harder on the right front in the long run as we go onto the caution flag for the second time in this event at lap number 19.
Anthony Bello was involved there, the 51.
Yep, Bello goes around. It looks like he is able to continue on. Woke is out of the event. As you mentioned a moment ago, he had the motor trouble. Bello is now in the 21st position, final car running, also on the lead lap. We'll see if he makes a stop, though, as we get a look at a replay.
The 51 and the 57 were involved there. Taking a look at the replay. Yeah, just a racing deal there. The 51 immediately took responsibility. That's an advantage of iRacing here. These drivers are all in communication with each other. And so if one makes a mistake, they can jump right on and say, listen, that's my bad. I'm sorry. I'll take full responsibility for that one. So that's what ends up happening. Right now, remember, no tires for these drivers. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. One driver that's moved their way up through the field, 2 drivers actually, are running right next to each other. Josh Schlatt's in that 20. He started in 21st. He's up to 12th in just 21 laps. Jake Douglas started 22nd. He's up to 13th. Another driver up 9 spots. Frank Perez, 24th all the way up to 15th. A lot of drivers are working their way up through the field so far. And I think if you're one of the drivers at the front, you got to keep an eye on it. I was looking at Josh Schlatt's and some of his lap times. He was running 18.4s, 18.5s. Well, that's keeping pace with the leaders, and he's back in traffic.
Back in traffic and gaining a little bit of ground all at the same time. Just before this caution, Jeff, we were talking about one of the cars hooked up really nicely on the bottom of the racetrack. But is that something you can maintain for 80 laps and not burning that right front away?
Yes, that is something you absolutely can do. The tires aren't too terrible. You can run them hard, because think about the size of the tires. They are massive tires on these cars, so you can get a lot out of them. You just have to be careful, because once they're gone, they are gone, and that's it. So you have to be careful, not overdrive them, but you can lean on them and definitely be aggressive.
Approaching just past a quarter mark distance here in this 80-lap event. Robbie Keneally, the leader, has led all 22 laps thus far over Aaron Plemons, Ryan Blanchard, Tyler Wood, and Nicholas Hovey rounding up top 5. Cameron Lyabelle is in 6th, the first driver that would not transfer into Friday night's race program. Top 5 will have an opportunity to race on Friday night. Also Ryan Libby, currently in 7th, Richie Coy 8th, Justin Williams 9th, and Zane Farrell rounding out the top 10. Should be getting the one-to-go signal this time by, working lap number 24. As they cross the line, field doubles up in rows of 2.
Rows of 2 now getting ready to come back to the green flag. Keep an eye on these battles all throughout the field here, folks. You might see them going on towards the back of these shots. Keep an eye all around, your head on a swivel. There's a lot of great action out here, and 25 drivers looking to make the race on Friday night. They've all got a story, and it's our job to tell it, and we're doing a great job so far, I think. Thank you to the whole team here today getting ready for this. Thank you for everyone tuning in and watching. It's been a pleasure these past few weeks, and they're back under green.
And we do it again in 48 hours. Wow, they really stacked up in front of the field. Keneally and Blanchard. Clemens going to lose a spot. Nicholas Hovey and Tyler Wood. That's the top 5, but everybody in the line on the bottom of the racetrack for the most part, at least toward the front of the field, as they exit the back straightaway and race through turns 3 and 4.
Wow, they managed to hold on to it. They were 4 wide. Someone was in the grass.
Wild action further back.
Wow, if we can get a replay of Josh Schlatt's right there, talk about a driver threading the needle, went from 13th all the way up to 8th. What a fantastic move to get through that absolute mayhem back there.
You ask for a replay, you get a replay, as we'll take a look at the action just behind Casa Grande in that orange number 7
Schlatt's
car.
in the wall, up and over. The commentator's curse strikes again.
Wow, big wreck off of turn number 2. They'll stack them up, and we go under caution flag once again for the second time. As we saw what happened off of turn number 2. Keneally leads, but it looks like we're going to get an outside view of the incident. They just ran out of room off of turn number 2, and the 20 got squeezed hard up and into the outside wall and nearly got upside down. Looked like that was Casa Grande to the bottom. We'll get a better view of it here.
That was the 14 on corner exit. We talked about it during the heat races. When you make a real flat exit off turn number 2 there, you think the car's pointed straight, and all of a sudden it just steps out on you, and the 20 car was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Gets sent up into the wall. As soon as that car gets touched, though, it's out of his control, and now he's down there on pit road. That engine's blowing up. He's done for the night. I think a couple other drivers as well got wrapped up in it.
Attrition beginning to stack up here. You mentioned 25 drivers looking for 5 spots a moment ago. Almost 8 of those drivers, make that 9, are either on pit road and or out of this race, including Justin Williams, who was running well a couple laps ago. He is on the pit lane as we continue to now click off another lap, field crossing the start-finish line. Jake Douglas on pit road. John Andrade is out of the event and now shown 2 laps down. Josh Schlatt, multiple laps down on pit road. Timothy Baker from a previous wreck on pit road, multiple laps down as well. So field beginning to get a little bit thin here with now 17 cars shown on the lead lap. Justin Williams, the last of those. He made a stop but was able to beat the pace car out and remain on the lead lap in that 17th position. Keneally continues to lead the way in car number 1 over Ryan Blanchard, who has done well again in these Wednesday night races. We've seen him on Friday nights more times than not. Aaron Clemens as well has run on Friday night quite a bit, along with Nicholas Hovey and Ryan Libby. So not a lot of strangers at the front of the field, maybe except for the leader, Jeff, and Robbie Keneally.
Robbie Keneally is really strong out there. He does a lot of work over with the Rocket Setup Shop. You can find their website as well. They do short track setups, a lot of dirt track setups. Great group over there as well for Robbie Keneally, and I'm sure they're very happy to be watching him lead the way over Ryan Blanchard, who's also a well-known name here on iRacing. Aaron Clemens, Nicholas Hovey, Ryan Libby, Tyler Wood, Richie Coy. All 7 of those drivers are really, really strong here. Not to say the other drivers aren't, but those 7 especially, only 5 can advance. It was awesome. This is awesome racing here.
It's going to be a good one, and we're not even quite to halfway yet. 32 of 80 laps in the books. Blanchard, and make that Keneally on the inside. Blanchard to the outside. Then it's Hovey and Clemens in row 2. Tyler Wood and Ryan Libby in row number 3 as we are set for the restart here. Pace car on pit road. Off of turn number 4 comes Keneally on the bottom. Blanchard top side, and we're back at it. See if we can string together a couple of green flag laps here as we work lap number 33. And Keneally a little bit out of shape there in turn number 2, Jeff.
A little bit out of shape, but he manages to make it work and hold on to it. Behind him as well, that side-by-side battle, Aaron Clemens out on the bottom. He had to hold on to that car. Now, that side-by-side battle is exactly, and I mean exactly what Robbie Keneally wants to see. He needs time to pull away from the field here, and those two drivers battling each other side by side will really slow them down. Now it's a side-by-side battle for third, but Aaron Clemens is all but wrapped up in it here. That's giving Robbie Keneally the chance to pull away in 18.349 that last lap. He is really hauling the mail.
Clemens trying to pull away now in second from Ryan Libby, Ryan Blanchard, Tyler Wood, a good 3-car. Make that a 4-car battle now for fourth. Nicholas Hovey joins the party, as does Richie Coy in seventh. So they're really stacked up from third on back as Keneally and Clemens are pretty much trying to separate themselves from the rest of the field.
19 goes around.
That is Richie Coy.
There goes Coy.
Out of shape off of turn number 2, spins to the infield, and the caution flag comes out again. I believe the fourth one in this event. So we get a look at a replay. See if he had some help.
Yeah, the 14 car just got into the back room there, unfortunately, and it's frustrating there. And Cameron Leibel touches that back bumper, and he's going to get an EOL penalty from our race director, Dylan Kopech.
Like he was one slight tap, and then Coy got out of shape, and then he finished off. A harder tap. There you go. So there'll be a penalty. Coy will have company back there. I'm trying to find who was in the 14.
It's just the number 14 on the side of the car, but that was Cameron Leibel. He's
There
in
we go.
timing and scoring is number 70.
And Cameron Leibel, one of those drivers running up in the top 6 for the first half of this race. With that penalty, we'll drop him outside of the top 10. Currently being shown in 15th, ahead of some of the cars on pit road, including Anthony Bello, Justin Williams, and a couple of others. Josh Slatt still trying to get his car fixed. He's 11 laps down now. Timothy Baker is 11 laps down as well in 21st, but still on the pit lane. Hoping to get back out there, maybe get a couple of more laps in this event before it is all said and done. These caution laps allowing them to have some extra time to get their cars fixed, although they are well out of contention for a win or a top 5 position here this evening. Again, we do this again in 48 hours, our final scheduled event here on the iRacing platform for our Stafford Motor Speedway drivers and the top 5 fans from tonight, sponsored by All Phases Renovations on Friday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on the Stafford YouTube channel. Tonight's action brought to you by the Horton Group. They've been with us on Wednesday nights for these fan events for the last couple of months as well. So we thank Kenny and his entire team for their sponsorship of tonight's race program. Find more information on the Horton Group at their website, hortongroupllc.com. Doubled up, and I have a feeling, Jeff, we're only a yellow, maybe 2, but I would guess 1 away from seeing single file starts. I know something that you don't want to do, but sometimes it has to be done in order to get a couple of green laps strung together.
You're right. We'll have to see how it ends up working out. We've seen it before where they all of a sudden, we see a few wrecks on occasion, and then all of a sudden everything just clicks for these drivers and they just put off some really clean racing here until the end. We've also had it where a wreck and a caution breeds caution. So we'll see what happens. We're halfway through this race. So we've got a good chunk of the race left there, as race control just told all these drivers. I think they're all on their toes, and they know a top 5 finish is what they need.
There they come off turn 4. Keneally and Ryan Libby make up the front row. Aaron Clemens and Tyler Wood. The inside lane gets the jump, led by Keneally. He'll lead them off of turn number 2 and up the back straightaway. Libby and Clemens go side by side for second. And again, Jeff, that's exactly what Robbie wants to see in his rearview mirror is the battle for second side by side.
You're right. Ryan Libby has worked his way up from 9th all the way to 2nd. Almost lost it right there as Aaron Clemens was about, maybe a hair length away. Clemens gets loose there, and he is now going to be under fire from the 24 behind him with Tyler Wood. Wood all the way on the bottom. He's got the nose there, but not enough for a run to make anything happen.
Wood looking to the inside, but has to fall back in the line in fourth. Aaron Clemens still in third, just behind Ryan Libby. The battle for the race lead kind of strung out right now. Ryan Libby, though, closing in on Kenele. This could be the first challenge that Kenele has had in this event for the top spot. We'll see. But Libby's coming.
He certainly is. Ryan Libby's coming his last lap in 18.393. Robbie Kenele in 18.414. So he's gaining a tiny bit. Tiny bit. But he is definitely gaining. That last lap in 18.376 for Kenele. And for Libby, a 3.45. So he's about a quarter of a tenth of a second quicker. And think about how small that is. A quarter of a tenth of a second. So this race is far from over, but Ryan Libby could have something for Robbie Kenele here.
Quarter of a tenth. They're about even on the racetrack. Although Libby, here he comes. Gets a good run in turn number one, and as close as he has been to the front of the field in the first 47 laps of this event. Kenele, the leader. Libby is right there in second. Then it's a bit of a gap, about half a second or so. Back to Aaron Clemens in third, Wood in fourth, Blanchard in fifth. And here we go. Battle for the lead is on off of turn number two.
Right there, just a couple car lengths separates them. They're getting close, and these drivers are really starting to push it. Kenele is really pushing it here right at the beginning, and it's sort of a battle of young versus old. Robbie Kenele, he is under the age of 16. He's a young guy. He's still out there, but he drives professionally. Then you got Ryan Libby, 35 years old. He's got a lot of experience here on iRacing, 9 years of it, almost 10 in August. So he's got a lot of time and experience here. We'll have to see how it ends up working out. Will it be the experience that wins out or the young gun holding off Ryan Libby here? As Libby's closing in, but Kenele holds the lead. Now, being fast enough to catch someone, sorry to go a little long here, but being fast enough to catch someone doesn't necessarily mean you're fast enough to pass them. Keep that in mind as well.
Both holding A-class licenses, that is, and Ryan Libby also has time on his side here. Still 29 laps to go, so one slip up by Kenele, and Libby will be there ready to take the lead away, and there's some lap traffic ahead as well, so we'll keep an eye on that as the battle for third's a good one as well. Aaron Clemens and Ryan Blanchard, who is trying to chase him down for that third spot. Clemens maintaining about a 2-car length advantage over Blanchard in position number 4 as they race to turn number 3.
Racing into turn number 3, we have a battle side by side for 10th right now between Kyle Thoreau and between Kyle Thoreau and Anthony Bello. Bello comes out of there for the 11th spot in hand. It was about for 11th, my bad. But like you said, up towards the front, these drivers are still battling hard, just like they are for the lead. Ryan Libby's there, but he's not quick enough to pass. Now he falls back a couple car lengths again. Back up to that back bumper of Kenele, and he's trying to find a way around.
Well, it's about to get good because there's a pair of lap cars just in front of the race leaders, and they were side by side a moment ago as we go on board with the race leader, Robbie Kenele. Let's see how he, 1, navigates the lap traffic, and 2, holds off Ryan Libby in the process. That lap car goes high and allows the leaders plenty of room to the bottom. Both, I'm sure, much appreciative of that room. They race it away into turn number 3. One more lap car, at least on the same straightaway, with Kenele right now as we work lap number 56.
56 laps in the book now of 80 in total, so about 25 laps left in this race. I had to double check my math. It's been a while, but right now back to P3. Aaron Clemens is holding on to it as they were side by side with the lap car back there. And that lap car helped Aaron Clemens. It got a little bit of breathing room back to Ryan Blanchard. Now remember, it's a top 5 here is what these drivers need. So Tyler Wood is the last driver in. Half a second behind him is Nicholas Hovey. Hovey and Zane Farrell are also very close to each other. Zane Farrell coming all the way back from 17th all the way up to 7th now. Needs just 2 more spots and he'll be locked in.
And that's a good battle for position, but unfortunately time beginning to run out for Zane Farrell. In position number 7, he'll have to move around Hovey, who maintains the 6th spot and in fact is beginning to pull away just a bit. Hovey, meanwhile, has to get around Tyler Wood in position number 5 as they race off of turn number 2 and up the back straightaway, riding on board with Zane Farrell right now in that 7th spot. Looking at Nicholas Hovey slowly but surely disappearing. as they battle from, looks like, third on back into turn one. Good battle here with Aaron Clemens showing the way off turn two.
Three-way battle for third place right now for these drivers. Aaron Clemens, he's got a mirror full of Ryan Blanchard. Take a look at that. Wood Hovey as well. It's really a four-car battle, one could argue. Any one of these cars could come out with it. I think if Aaron Clemens, though, gets pushed to the outside, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble because the whole train behind him, Blanchard, Wood, Hovey, are all going to be able to work their way around him if he's stuck on the outside line. So now Clemens just needs to hold on to the bottom. Ryan Libby has fallen off a little bit from the leader, Robbie Keneally. He's got a little bit of breathing room up there at the front. Probably about 6 or 7 car lengths for those two drivers. Their pace has slowed up quite a bit. I think Ryan Libby might have burnt off his tires, and it's just riding.
Watching Nicholas Hovey about a lap and a half ago, got really loose off of turn number 4, maybe overdriving that car just a bit, trying to work his way into the top 5, and in fact lost a bunch of ground, about 7/10 of a second back, as we go on board with, looks like Blanchard as they come off of turn number 4. Blanchard in 4th, trying to chase down Aaron Clemens for the battle for third. This has been a good battle the last 10 or so laps. Clemens and Blanchard, Tyler Wood in the mix as well, and then a little bit of a gap now to Nicholas Hovey after that bobble about 4 laps to go. With 15 laps to run in this 80-lap feature event, this is the best battle from third on back. It is Ryan Blanchard. You're on board with him now, going to the outside, trying to build that run, trying to get that speed onto the back straightaway, and Aaron Clemens, and unfortunately, looked like Jeff, a bit of a bobble there off turn 2.
Bit of a bobble, but everyone holds on to it here. No caution or really no harm, no foul. But you're right, Nicholas Hovey really loose on corner exit. You mentioned that earlier. Right now, Robbie Keneally fighting through lap traffic. Ryan Libby right behind. They've got some breathing room, about 2 seconds worth back to Aaron Clemens and that whole train back there. But Ryan Libby still trying to run down Robbie Keneally.
Looks like we have 15 cars still on the lead lap. Justin Williams, the next to go a lap down. Frank Perez also in front of the race leaders, some 15 seconds behind. Keneally the leader, and caution.
Wreck in turn 4. The 16 car was involved. That's Timothy Baker.
And we go under the caution flag now with 12 laps to go. Baker around off of turn 4. We'll get a look at a replay here.
Oh.
And
wow, that was Frank Perez just locked up the tires and then kind of got it going straight again before the thing snapped around on him, and Timothy Baker ends up getting involved.
yeah, Baker nowhere to go. We have said that a lot here tonight for a lot of these drivers. And Perez has lost a lap. Justin Williams on pit road, not involved, and has moved up to 14th as we get a look at the pit lane there with Timothy Baker, car number 16. Right now, 34 laps down, so he had an earlier incident, Jeff, fixed the car, and it took some time to repair it. Got it fixed, went back out on the racetrack, and involved in another incident here in the closing laps. When it's not your night, it's not your night.
Yeah, you're exactly right. When it's just not going your way, man, if it's not bad luck, it's no luck at all, unfortunately, for some of these drivers. So we'll see if they're able to get back out on track, but man, it's just beyond frustrating when all of a sudden everything is going wrong and nothing works quite right in your favor.
So let's reset it now with 10 laps to go in this 80-lap main event. Robbie Keneally, the race leader, has led all the laps thus far. Ryan Libby might have gained the most ground here tonight. He's up to second. Aaron Clemens third, Ryan Blanchard fourth, and Tyler Wood rounds out the top 5. They are all in spots to transfer into Friday night's race program. Nicholas Hovey is not running in 6th. They'll need at least one more spot to move into the top 5 as the field continues under the caution. Don't believe we got the one to go signal. Lights are still on. So Hovey is 6th. Zane Farrell 7th. Kyle Casagrande running up in 8th. Greg Estelle 9th. Nick Ferlino rounding out the top 10, Jeff.
Now there's 10 laps left in this race, and remember, they're not racing necessarily for the win. These drivers are out here to make it into Friday night's event. A top 5 is as good as a win, so when you come out of it, granted everyone loves the bragging rights and the pride of saying they won the event, but If you get a top 5, that's exactly what you need to transfer over. So expect a really hard battle here between Nicholas Humvee, Zane Farrell, Tyler Wood, probably Ryan Blanchard as well, Kyle Casagrande, all for that 5th place spot. Only 5 can advance, and there's a lot of strong drivers still in this race.
7 o'clock Eastern Time, Friday night, the final scheduled event here from the eStafford Speedway on the iRacing platform. Sport-type modifieds involving the Stafford Speedway regulars and top 5 fans from tonight's race program, which is about to go back under the green flag. 6 laps, make that 7 laps to go. Keneally, Libby, Clemens, Blanchard, Hubby, top 5 as they come to green.
Green flag now in the air. These drivers are on the move. Ryan Libby stuck up on that outside. Let's see if he can make it work, though, as he touches tires with Keneally. They keep it rolling side by side now. The inside line is so strong. They touch again. Libby holds on to it. They're almost 3 wide. Blanchard gets out of shape, and they are side by side now for 5th place. On the outside there, that 33 car is trying to make it work. Nicholas Hubby. Oh, he is really pushing that outside line, but it's hard to make something work out there.
Hubby outside looking in a couple of laps ago was as far as the 7th spot before the caution flag, and now he pulls up alongside Tyler Wood as we go on board with Hubby to battle for this final transfer spot into Friday night's event. 24, Tyler Wood at the bottom, riding on board with Hubby. They're getting at it further up as well for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th with Clemens, Libby, and Blanchard. All of this way behind the race leader. Jeff Keneally has checked out again.
That side-by-side battling between Clemens and Libby allowed him to pull away about 0.8 seconds now. Is his lead. That's exactly what he wants to see. Now a big lead here towards the end of this race. Now Tyler Wood has exactly what he does not want to see. 2 cars right behind him battling for that 5th spot. You see Nicholas Hubby there and Zane Farrell. Zane has raced all the way from 17th up to 7th. He's trying to race his way in. He might have a chance here if Nicholas Hubby can get up there, but for P2, Aaron Clemens holding off Ryan Libby and Ryan Blanchard. If your name's Ryan, then you are fighting with Aaron Clemens right now as the caution is out.
Oh boy. Caution is out again now within the final couple laps of this race.
In turn 4. That is a big mess in turn 4. Looks like it started with the 49 car. Could have been Justin Williams involved as well.
At least 4 cars involved in the incident.
Wow.
14 right at the head of that. Looks like he had a little bit of help, and around he went.
From Kyle Thoreau, yeah.
Yep. And the caution flag is out with 2 laps to go. And we lose a couple more here in this event with 16 cars to make that 14 cars still shown on the lead lap.
Wow.
It's not about the win, like you mentioned a moment ago. I mean, we've been talking about Keneally most of this night at the front of the field as we see a couple cars smoking up the front straightaway. Not much of a surprise there with as much contact as we've had, but that 5th spot, so important, maybe more so than the race win here tonight, because it is 5 that advance into Friday night, Jeff.
Top 5 advance, and that's what it's all about. That's when you're out there racing with these people that you watch in real life every Friday night at Stafford Speedway, and we hope to see you all at the track when we do get back there. So you're out there, you watch these people race, or maybe you're involved with a team in one way or another. So you're out there every single Friday night, and you want to be a part of it and race with those guys, and having this opportunity to do so, that's what this is about. And it's an awesome event that Stafford is putting on here, giving these fans the opportunity to do so.
Started back on March 27th, the first event for the Stafford Speedway iRacing program. Right around when the shutdown hit from COVID-19, Teddy Hodgson picked up that opening night win. In fact, he just won a couple of weeks ago as well. So good in the SK Modifieds. We've seen a lot of different classes. Stafford's done a great job of mixing up the different class of cars. We ran the first 4 weeks of the SK Modifieds. Then the driver said, all right, let's try something else. And Stafford agreed, so we went to the street stocks. We've seen the late models, tour-type modifieds. Was it super late models last week, I believe, Jeff, for the first time. So a little bit of everything here these last 3 months. And it's been fun to watch each and every week. It's been fun to watch it evolve. every week, and a lot of these Wednesday night drivers that have done so well in the Friday night program.
You're right. We've seen some names that have really stuck out week in and week out. We saw media man Kyle Souza come in and really make an impact, which it breaks that stereotype that, we're just announcers because we can't drive. And I might be a terrible driver, but Kyle isn't, so there you go.
Speaking of that, street stocks this year, are you still planning to compete in a street stock race on Friday nights with the rent-to-race cars?
As far as I know, that plan has not changed. The number 6 car is ready and waiting for me to hop into it once or, I don't know, maybe twice, I hope. We'll have to see what ends up working out. But, yeah, at least once it's looking like I'm going to be behind the wheel there. It's an awesome opportunity. I'm excited for it. But I'm even more excited to watch this racing here at the end. Just a few laps left here. Green, white, checkered. Ryan Libby gets shuffled to the outside. Clemens on the bottom, but they're all chasing Robbie Keneally, who is pulling away.
There is no battle for the lead. It is all Keneally at the front of the field. The battle will be for position number 2 and for position number 5. Libby and Clemens. White flag, 1 lap here in overtime, working lap number 85. And it's Keneally who has led all the way thus far, and he will win here tonight in a half lap from now. Clemens and Libby, the battle for second. Then it's Tyler Wood. Then the battle for 5th, and they get 3 wide, and Blanchard, it looks like, goes around off of turn 4.
Oh, Blanchard takes a couple of hard shots there. That is Zane Farrell at the end. Wow, from 17th all the way up to 5th, and he's going to round out the top 5 here, but wow, what an amazing finish.
Yeah, Nicholas Hovey was involved in that contact on the last lap as well. And we'll take a look at the battle for 5th coming to the checkered flag. It was a wild one. As we get a look there. And there's... Go back a little bit further here in a moment. As they race into turn 3. Here's the look. Jeff, walk us through it. Blanchard got the tap, and then they got 3 wide, and it was on from there.
Yeah, Blanchard got a tap from the 33 and Nicholas Hovey there, and seeing the opportunity, I think that was the 14 that sort of jumped in. No, I'm sorry, that was the 32, scored as the 32. There's Zane, and he sees the opportunity. He gets in there as well, and he jumps down to the bottom, works his way through, and takes the 5th spot, but that's just hard racing at the end there, and I'm sure Ryan Blanchard isn't happy.
All right, we're going to dial up some of the top finishers here this evening, including Robbie Keneally, the race winner. You see him parked there in victory lane. Ryan Libby in 2nd, Aaron Plemons 3rd, Tyler Wood 4th, Zane Farrell squeaking into the top 5 there in the last corner of the last lap, and he will race on Friday night, part of our Friday night program. Let's take a look at the results, Jeff. Robbie Keneally, the race winner here tonight by about 0.6 of a second, led all 85 laps en route to the win over Ryan Libby, Aaron Plemons, Tyler Wood, Zane Farrell, the top 5, Nicholas Hovey, Kyle Casagrande, Anthony Bello, Nick Ferlino, and Kyle Terriel rounding out the top 10. Unfortunately, from 6th on back, they will not race on Friday.
Greg Estelle finished in 11th, Ryan Blanchard in 12th, Cameron Leibel in 13th, Richie Coy 14th, Frank Perez in 15th, Peyton Henry in 16th, Justin Williams 17th, Jake Douglas finished in 18th, Josh Schlatz ended up 19th after coming back out on track. He was running up there in the top 10, just was in the wrong place at the wrong time though. Timothy Baker in 20th, John Andrade III had a really strong run going, started in 16th, but ultimately finished back there in 21st. Rob Hoekstra in 22nd, Jason Woke in 23rd after his engine blew up, Corey Berry in 24th, and rounding out the field was the 8-car Thomas Namikas, who finished 25th after starting in 12th.
All right. That'll, I think, wrap us up here for tonight. Jeff, are we going to hear, do we hear from the top 3 in fan tonight? I don't know if we do that in the past because we don't do these fan broadcasts every week. All right, we're going to talk to the winner. I like it. Robbie Keneally, and he's going to talk with Jeff McConey here in just a moment. Jeff's going to catch up with Robbie, the race winner. Made it look easy out there tonight. Started on the pole, led every lap, I believe won his qualifying race. And we're going to hear from him now. Let's go to Jeff.
Robbie, it's Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you had a great run out there. You led pretty much the entire race. What was the key when you were battling there with Ryan Libby to being able to hold him off?
I think it was just mainly track position. I think it's really, really hard to pass there. And I think because getting on the pole was huge and winning the heat race, I think that's what secured it.
Absolutely. And that was great there towards the end when you were looking in your rearview mirror. Were you at all concerned that somebody would be able to form a run and get to you there on the last green, white checkered?
I was definitely concerned. Ryan was making a haul there at the end. He was very, very fast.
Well, it was a great run. Who do you have to thank there for that win tonight?
First of all, I just want to thank you guys for putting on a good show. I want to thank Rocker Racing Setups. I want to thank Wiley X, and I want to thank my buddy Tyler Wood for helping me get into this.
Well, it was a great run out there tonight. Right now, we are looking for the rest of everybody, the rest of the top three here, see if they'll be able to join us. But awesome run out there, Robbie. Congratulations on that win, and we'll see you on Friday.
Yep, thank you.
I think you might be one of the early favorites for Friday night. That extra track time might mean everything when it comes to racing on Friday night. Again, we're back at it with all the Stafford regulars, along with Kenile, Ryan Libby, Aaron Plemons, Tyler Wood, and Zane Farrell. They will join us on Friday night. Jeff, your final thoughts as we wrap up the final fan event, as of right now anyway, the final scheduled fan event sponsored by the Horton Group.
Well, it was a fantastic race here tonight for sure, but Robbie Kenneally was just on rails. Barely was able to hold off Ryan Libby there towards the middle. I thought Libby was going to be able to put something together, but it was some great racing that we got to watch. I had a lot of fun as well watching some of these drivers that started towards the back work their way up front. Josh Schlatt, like I mentioned a few times, was up in the top 10 and looking for more. Zane Farrell started all the way back in 17th and finished in 5th. Another driver that had a great run there, Kyle Thoreau, was running towards the front as well. Started in 20th and finished in 10th. We saw a lot of drivers working their way up through the field. Overall, a fantastic race. The fans put on an awesome show. It's a lot of fun calling it here tonight with you, and I can't wait for Friday.
We do it again on Friday night with the Stafford regulars. The event on Friday night, sponsored by All Phases Renovations. Again, a big thanks to the Horton Group for their sponsorship for the Wednesday night program. For Jeff McConey, Sean Ambrose, our producer from the Global Sim Racing Channel, the Arute family for making this happen each and every Wednesday and Friday night here on the iRacing platform. We look forward to seeing you on Friday night for our season finale here from the Stafford Motor Speedway. Again, want to congratulate Robbie Kenneally on the win here this evening.